Hey everybody, Drew here. Welcome to the Tattooed Chap. So I'm going to do something a little bit new, something a little bit fun, is I'm going to do a weekly Top 5 Fridays video. And so what I'm going to do with those Top 5 Friday videos is share with you my top 5s of various subjects. Some of them might be fun, some of them might be serious, some of them might be learning times, some of them you will probably totally disagree with me on what my top 5s are, but today we're going to be talking about the top 5 athletes of all time, at least for me. So why don't you tune in and we'll see who I think my top 5 athletes of all time are. So we're here and we're going to get started, but before we do, I want to say a few things. So when we talk about my top 5, one thing I'm not going to mention is probably the people that you're thinking. I'm not going to talk about Kobe. I'm not going to be talking about LeBron or Michael Jordan. I'm not going to be talking about Russell Wilson, the quarterback of my Seahawks. Well, I'm probably going to talk about some people that you're not expecting, but people that were influential to me in my growing up, or people that have inspired me in the world of athletics. So we'll get to those 5 right now. So before we get started, what I want you to do is comment below real quick on who your top 5 athletes of all time are. I don't want you to know who I picked. I want you to put yours down there first. That way you don't copy me. If you think I'm wrong or you think I should have picked someone else, also let me know down in the comments below. Number 1, first person I would say is one of the greatest athletes of all time is Jamie Thomas. You might be wondering, who is Jamie Thomas? Well, Jamie Thomas was a skateboarder for the team Zero. He is a skateboarder from the late 90s and early 2000s, and he was an inspiration to me. He would go big all the time. He wasn't the most technically skilled, like doing crazy tricks, although he could do them, but he always went big. He did the big drops, the big jumps, and me as a skateboarder growing up, I wasn't able to do a lot of the tech tricks. I could do some, but I was able to go bigger than a lot of people. And so I kind of had this affinity for him, and he just inspired me in life just to go big. One of my favorite videos that he was in was Toy Machine's Welcome to Hell video, which inside that video, if you haven't watched it yet, has a crazy awesome session of just like guys crashing and breaking bones and messing up ankles. It's pretty gnarly. In Jamie's session, one thing that really was kind of like a introduction to me was the band Iron Maiden and their song Hallowed Be Thy Name. And his session, the way it was filmed with him skating and that song, it was a really cool video. So anyways, Jamie Thomas is number 1 on my list of greatest athletes of all time. So number 2 on my list is Ken Shamrock, and if you're familiar with UFC and MMA, you'll know the name. He became famous because he fought to a draw with Royce Gracie in the inaugural UFC match, and he continued to be a main part of UFC and MMA for many years. He later transitioned to WWE. But was he the greatest fighter? I don't think so. There's other people I think that were better at different times, even though he did hold the championship. And this was back when UFC didn't have as many rules as they have now. And so he was just like bare-tooth brawler type of guy. I remember being a brand new soldier and stumbling across his book called, I think it was Into the Lion's Den or something along those lines. And it was just about his upbringing and how he became a fighter, how his workout routines, what he expected of the guys that were going to fight at his camp or train at his camp, what he expected of them. And it was just pretty cool getting to see that stuff, and it was an inspiration to me. So my third greatest athlete of all time would be Bo Jackson. In 1990, Bo Jackson was the sports star alongside Michael Jordan. But Bo Jackson, what was unique about him is that he played both professional baseball and professional football, and he did both of them well. I remember in 1990, they came out with this infamous, I mean, you could look it up and still probably one of the greatest sports cards of all time, but it's Bo Jackson. It's a black and white photo. He has his football pads on, no shirt, so you can see all of his muscles, and then he has a baseball bat around his back, and he's just kind of standing there looking like, yeah, I know what's up. And, you know, and that was one of his catchphrases, Bo knows. And so they would, in the commercials, they'd say, Bo knows football, Bo knows baseball. Bo knows this, Bo knows that. And it was just a really inspiring thing as a 10-year-old, seeing this guy that was good enough to play professionally at 2 different sports. And it kind of taught me that you don't have to be one-dimensional in life. You don't have to be good at just one thing or identify as just one thing, but you can actually have your fingers in a few different things and you can excel in multiple things. Bo was someone that was inspiring to me. He looked cool. He played for the Raiders and he played for the White Sox, both teams that had the black and white color look, which as a kid, I thought those were the coolest colors in the world, the black and white silver combo. So Bo is number 3 on my list. Number 4 on my list of greatest athletes of all time is Steve Prefontaine. And you probably haven't heard of that name unless you're someone that's into running. And my dad was a high school collegiate runner. He always did. He was running all the time as a kid when I was growing up, running like short distances, long distances. And I kind of fell in love with running because of my dad. The thing that's interesting about Steve Prefontaine, there's a couple of videos that you could watch about him on YouTube, some movies. So Steve ran for the University of Oregon, and his coach was Bill Bowerman. Bill was the person that created Nike. So Steve was the one that helped put Bill's shoes on the world stage. And if it wasn't for Steve Prefontaine, I don't think we would know of Nike today. So that's one thing that's pretty unique about Steve Prefontaine. The other thing that I think is pretty interesting is he set like almost every collegiate running record that you could think of that was a long distance run. Steve died, unfortunately, in 1975, and he died of a drunk driving accident. And it's really unfortunate, but at the time of his death, he still held every collegiate running record from the 2,000 meter to the 10,000 meter at the time of his death. That's pretty impressive. That's the kind of runner he was. In fact, he kind of changed how people ran in college. The conventional wisdom of the day was that you would start slow and then you would run fast towards the end of the race. But Steve had a saying, and it was that you make every race a gut race, that he was gonna make them have to beat him. And he would go full bore from the very beginning of the race, and he would run, and people didn't know how to run and compete against that at first. And that was one of the things that he had as a strategy, and it worked. He was unconventional, and he actually became one of the best runners in human history. Steve inspired me by teaching me that everything really is a gut race. You see, our feelings and our emotions and how hard something is can make us slow down and it can get in the way, but really it comes down to having discipline and getting out there doing it. It doesn't matter how you feel, but you keep on going. You do what you know you need to do to win. Anyways, Steve is an inspiration to me. Adam Sandler is number 5 on my list. You might be thinking, what the? Yeah, you're right. I'm kind of cheating. But this is the thing. Adam Sandler, he's in a few sports movies, but the 2 that stand out to me are Happy Gilmore and Waterboy. In both of those movies, he plays the underdog that comes up on top, defeating everything that should be holding him back. You know, the bad guys, the people that don't believe in him. He overcomes disability. He overcomes a lack of know-how, and he comes out on top. And it's because of his tenacity and because of the people around him. He cares about them. That's always an inspiration to me. You don't necessarily have to be the best. You don't always necessarily have to have it all together. But if you really do care about people, if you really do have a passion and a drive, you can do more with that than with anything else. So, a perfect example is Happy Gilmore going against Shooter McGavin. So Happy was a good hockey player, kinda, but he moved to golf so he could save his grandma's house. Shooter McGavin is this guy that's skilled. He has all the skills. He's the golf star. And so Happy learns how to golf so he can win this money to save his grandma's house. Shooter McGavin really did have all the skill, but he didn't have the attitude. He didn't have the heart, and pride got in the way. But Happy, he loved his grandma, and he wanted to do what was right. He was able to overcome his own brokenness, his own issues, to do great things in this world and for those around him. So it's inspiring to me. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 5 top athletes of all time. And you're probably going to disagree with me, but that's cool. Make sure to remember to put down who you think your top 5 athletes are. Maybe tell me why, and maybe you can tell me why I'm wrong with who I picked as well. Anyways, if you like this stuff, make sure to share, subscribe, and comment below. We'll see you guys next time. And again, we're going to be doing these every Friday, so make sure to tune in for that. And we're going to continue with our other content too, with interviews and like moments that matter, where we just kind of talk about life stuff. But yeah, anyways, see you guys later. I'll be praying for you. God bless, and bye.